Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and I know I said I would be in Los Angeles tonight, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I woke up this morning, I was so queasy, and I thought I was gonna puke. No, actually I did throw up twice, and then I ended up having to catch the flight from Portland to here, and I had to pick up my tuxedo. FYI, I loved the girl at the tuxedo shop. She made my day. She was like, "Oh, I thought you were picking it up for prom." I said, "Girl, my prom was 21 years ago." I was, and that's being generous. It was actually more like 24 years ago, but whatever. Anyway, but she made my day. That was really cute. I was like, "No, sweetheart, I'm going to the Daytime Emmys on Sunday." And I know it's been a long time since I've mentioned that, but I'm going to the Daytime Emmys this Sunday. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be fierce. My little sister has a dress. I've got my tux. And I think we're going to rent a limo. I mean, I could drive my car, but I mean, my car's filthy. I could pay to have it washed and be probably a little cheaper than renting a limo, but I can afford a limo. It's not that expensive. So, I mean, it's slightly more expensive than an ambulance. And I went to the Primetime Emmys in an ambulance in 1995. Fiercest thing I've ever done in my life. Fierce. Well, maybe not the fiercest thing, but it was pretty close. It was pretty awesome. Anyways, so, yeah, so why not do a limo? I might as well. We'll see. I'll price them out on Saturday and we'll find out. I'm going home, LA, tomorrow. So I'm back in Vegas, as you can see by the bright background. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in to Angel Sudsy Recap, the show where we delve into the world of daytime television and a few reality shows on the side. And one of the reality shows that we are doing is Dancing for Relevancy, aka Dancing with the Stars. How crazy was this week? I mean, I am in shock. 100% in shock. The two front runners that I picked to come to the end, Erica Jane and Heather Morris, voted off the show. You know what that tells me? That tells me that the gays are not watching. So what is more enthralling on a Monday night that has the gays watching that instead of Dancing for Relevancy? It's a fucking ballroom dancing competition show. You would think that gays would be turning out in droves. And the biggest gay dance icon right now, Erica Jane, circuit queen, and Heather Morris from Glee, one of the gayest shows ever, voted off the show. I'm still in shock. Completely in shock by that. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so this week they had a guest judge, Nick Carter. Now, at first, I wasn't too thrilled about that. I was like, because he didn't win his season. So I'm thinking, well, what right? Like when Alfonso came back and he was a guest judge, that made sense because he won his season. But like, and kind of, when Red Foo was a guest judge first, and then they had him on the show, yeah, that was not good because he totally lost all his judging credibility because he was like the second one to go. Like he was like, bye. I was like, oh shit. So much for that guest judge. So I was, a little bit skeptical. But I've got to give Nick Carter credit because he did his homework and all of his commentary was very thoughtful and his scores were a little harsh across the board. He was harsher than Len. So I give him props for that. Good for you, because most guest judges, they come in and they give everybody high scores, regardless of whether they deserve them or not. But no, he was pretty fierce. I got to give him credit. So Nick Carter won me over with that, with his performance as a guest judge. He did a great job. So good job to you, Nick Carter. Okay, so Heather was voted off. I cannot believe it. Now, if it was anybody else and Max, I would kind of see that. Because as good looking as he is, and I'm sure he's a lovely person, and he's a great dancer, and great butt, too. He's got a great butt. He's a little hard on his partners. In fact, I think with the exception of Meryl, he's made every single one of his partners cry. Like, all of them, whether it's Kirstie Alley or Hope Solo, or, I mean, like, if you're partners with Max, you're gonna cry. Heather didn't cry, though, I don't think, but she didn't matter. She got voted off anyways. But that's what I was saying. If it was anybody else with Max, I could see the public voting them off because, you know, they don't like Max because he made their star cry. But, first of all, Maxwell hasn't been in the competition. At least he came back for 1 week. I mean, to give her perfect 10s and then she gets voted off. I mean, that is so crazy. That's crazy. But that just shows you, you know, it's not just a dance competition. It's also a popularity competition, too. So, even if let's say I were to get on some reality show and then I would do Dancing for Relevancy, right? Because, you know, I want to be relevant. But if America doesn't know who I am, they're not going to vote for me, right? So that would make me nervous as hell, regardless of how good of a dancer I ever was, will, could be, whatever. It doesn't matter. If they don't like you, they don't like you. So let's talk about some people who I think need to go soon. And I know I hate to say this. Nick Viall, The Bachelor. And I don't hate to say that, because I've said that for a while. And this I hate to say, Bonner Bolton. But let's talk about Nick first, Nick Viall. As hard as I've been on Nick, I will say that, so he had the jive this week with PETA, and the jive is it is a very difficult dance. Now, in terms of all of the steps of the dance, he had them all. He did. He did a great job with the steps. I mean, like, they were really good. Now, in terms of articulating the steps, whether it's lengthening your leg, pointing your toe, releasing your hand as opposed to the blades that Carrie Ann Inaba was talking about, you know, those are little minor things, but the actual steps were on point. However, and by on point, I mean like on fleek. They were fierce, as opposed to on point, which is in toe shoes. I keep forgetting that when we're talking about dance. I can't really say on point. Anyways, so the thing about him, Nick, is that this past episode, he stared at the floor during his whole number. And I was like, because that reminded me of Hayes Greer when Hayes was partnered with Emma and he looked at the floor, I swear to God, for like the first 4 episodes. Then he got better about it, but it's like, oh my God, Nick, boy in the headband, head up. If you're not gay and you don't know the musical Chorus Line, you're not going to get that, but that was a reference to Chorus Line. Anyways, yeah, you got to keep your head up. Okay, so, and then there's Bonner Bolton. Now, I give Sharna credit. You know, she is really fierce. Sharna is pretty amazing, especially considering the fact that she hasn't ever won. She's come close so many times. She's so good. She was Nick's partner. And I do think that Nick actually was a little bit generous to Bonner because Sharna is his partner, was his partner. Because he's like, I just want to say thank you, Sharna, for your patience and blah, blah. And, you know, she is. She's great. This is how you can tell when someone is a really good dancer. In the opening, when they have the little dance that everybody does, you know, all the troupe members, the stars, the pros, you know, if you can always spot 1 or 2 people who just can't keep up with everybody else, that's Bonner and Nick right there. More so Bonner than Nick, but Bonner actually started off really strong, and now it's kind of getting to a point where it's probably very difficult for him. Because he's got, you know, metal parts all in his body, so it's probably hard as hell for him to, especially like he had the rumba. The rumba is all about fluidity and movement of the hips, especially for guys. And that's difficult for him, I'm sure. It has to be. So, I'm very sympathetic. But it is definitely time. I can't believe that Nick and Bonner are on the show longer than Heather and Erica Jane. That just, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that. Like, that just blows my mind. That's crazy. So, my top 4 now has to be altered because I thought Heather was going to win this thing. So, apparently not. See, that just shows you how much I know. Nothing. Take my commentary for what it's worth. Zilch. So my top 4 now are going to be Rashad, who's always been in the top 4. Simone, Normani, and Nancy Kerrigan. God damn it, Nancy Kerrigan. You have skated your way into the finale. Good for you. So if that means that they've got to get rid of David Ross. And now here's the thing about David Ross. David Ross thinks that, you know, because he's old, he's not that good. He's better than Bonner and Nick. Now, granted, he's not as good as the top 4 that I just mentioned, but he's better than those 2. So I would hope that he would then go up to, you know, come in 5th maybe, you know, because he's pretty good, actually. He's a pretty good dancer. Anyways, I do want to say thank you all very much for logging on today. I do appreciate you all. Because this week, you know, there was no Below Deck Med, because I'm doing Below Deck Med when that starts, and I'm very excited about that, because I finally get to talk about my girl Hannah, who I love me some Hannah. I can't wait. So this week I'm doing one last recap for Beverly Hills Housewives to do the finish up their finale, because this finale for the Beverly Hills Housewives was bonkers. It was insane. Everything about it was just crazy. I can't wait to talk about it. So thank you all so much for logging on today. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can also hashtag Dancing for Relevancy to know that to talk about Dancing for Relevancy, and then I'll know you're talking to me. And you can also hashtag RHOBH to talk, or Real Housewives shit, to talk the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Thank you so much for logging on. I appreciate it. You have a great night. Peace out. Wubba wubba wubba.